Hello and welcome to the 145 Rural Podcast, where we are here to strengthen music careers and communities one song at a time. And now here's your host, Jacob Wing. Yay!
Hey everybody, and welcome to today's episode where we're going to talk about some fast tips and some great tips that a lot of us wish we had when we first started getting into being an audio engineer and doing our own mixes even. So we're going to get right to the tips. Hopefully this will help you out, get you right on that track to getting paid more and making better mixes. First one that we're just going to hit right away is one of the most important ones, but it's not going to be one that you're going to be all about. It's not glamorous. It's not over the top or anything. But the first one I really want to talk about is honesty. And it's the hardest one, but it's the most rewarding. And what I mean by honesty is that there's a lot of advice out there of fake it till you make it, and just pretend what you want to be, and pretend that you're a better level than you are to attract bigger clients and make more money. But in the world of audio, because it's a recording, because it gets listened to repeatedly by whoever you're working for or who's paying you, you get exposed pretty quickly. And so all that kind of advice that people tell you backfires right in your face, and you wind up hurting yourself more than helping yourself and taking longer to develop your skills and develop your name and develop a client base because of following those steps. So first and foremost, to fast track a career and to fast track getting better at mixing, being honest with whoever you're doing that for, even if it's just yourself, is key. A little deeper into that, when you first decide to take in a client, when you have that first sit down and talk about what's the project, what are you looking to get out of this, that's the time to be honest and just right away say, here's my skill level, here's my experience, here's what I've done, here's some references to some client work I've done before or my own work, whatever it may be. And that way they know your level and they're not expecting more than you're able to do. That right there solves so many headaches and really can save you so much time. And in the end, you're trying to get a happy client that's going to pass on the word and tell everybody of your skills. And that takes time. But the more that you aren't hitting the step first and they walk away just either mediocrely satisfied and it was done, but they'll look for somebody better next time, or even they're unhappy and they're just going to pass that word along but not say it to your face. Those things can really slow down a career, really slow down building up your own portfolio and getting your name out there. I know it's silly, but honesty is really the number one thing for a reason. Just be forthcoming with everything, your skill level, what you have, what you're about, what you want to achieve, and then you're going to save so much time. Number two is kind of along those lines, but it's seek feedback, but also / get paid. And let's get to the first part of that. So seeking feedback is really tough, and it's really easy just to cherry pick who you're going to ask. Like you can ask a significant other. They're going to tell you which they know, and they're a great point of view for an average listener. The most of the time, they don't have those kind of skills that you have or spend as much time, diving deep into what makes music, those kind of things. They're going to give you an honest listener's view of, I like this. Oh, there's too much. I can't hear the vocal's too loud. Is there bass on this? Those kind of things. They're great for that. And that should never be your main source of feedback. A really good thing to do is to have other people that you're in, community with. Either you're playing music with them, you have played music with them before, but you trust their opinion, and prefacing what you're going to ask them of them is how you get the right feedback. And we've talked about this before, but you really have to say, I need your feedback on this. I need you to be brutally honest, and then let them say what they're going to say. You can't let your ego get in there and say, you're wrong and this hurts, and it's going to hurt in the beginning because they're going to tell you where you're falling short, where your mixes aren't that great, why this song isn't appealing to them because of something you may have done or might not done. So keeping that in mind, it's really important to seek out people that are going to tell you the truth, because it's the only way you're going to get better. Again, it's kind of a offshoot of honesty, but it's coming from a different direction. Now, the other part of this that I tacked on there is get paid. And what I mean by that is not go out and ask for, $10,000 for a mix because you deserve it and just start right there. What I'm talking about is there is no more honest feedback you're going to get than when somebody pays you money and they expect something certain in return. So, again, if you did step number 1 and you were upfront and honest and you guys came to a fair agreement for either one of your first or your first 10 mixes and you set a great level that's fair for everybody involved, that's when it's okay to start diving deep into, here's what I need to do. Here's where I'm going to get the mix. Here's where I want the level to be, using references to say, I want it to sound like this band or this release, those kind of things. And then seek their feedback in the end because they're going to be very honest of what they wanted. Hey, I wasn't quite seeking this sound. Can we make it sound more like this? Or usually, just depending on how experienced the client you're working with or the person you're working with, they'll be better at directing you in a way. But a lot of times it's not the case. You just have to learn how to read what they want and find a way to get to that same end result. But like I said, once there's money involved, you get much better feedback and much more honest feedback. And that's why I say get paid for what you do, but just be ready to take like $50 for a mix and a master. Get ready to take $100 to get, an EP, a 3-song EP out. You got to start somewhere, but getting paid, whatever that number may be, is what you have to do in the beginning, just for you and for them.
Hi there, and welcome to the ad break. We're just going to take a moment to let everybody know about our community of growing members, and if you'd like to be a part of that, just look at the info below, and there will be a click there for an email sign-up to join in and get your voice heard. As well, if you're enjoying this content, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/145rural. There you can join any of our groups, and you can add to the discussion of what topics we will choose that will help you and hopefully future members of our groups, as well as join monthly Q&As and other such benefits. Again, that's patreon.com/145rural, and we look forward to seeing you there. Now, back to that regularly scheduled episode, and enjoy that content. Thanks again.
Let's move on to number 3. And for number 3, we're going to talk about building your portfolio. So it's a great natural step from what we just said. We got into the, being honest. You're both on the same page. If it is, either you, a friend, whoever it is, you're on that same page. You're getting paid now. So, there's something in it for everybody. There's a monetary investment. This is when you start putting together your portfolio. Now, this portfolio you have, it doesn't matter what level you are, even if this is your first day, start putting it together, have it ready at a moment's notice, have it posted somewhere for everybody to hit, be it SoundCloud, your own website, somewhere where you can just reference, it's like your own walking business card. If you don't have this, you have a huge wall in the way of getting more clients, of attracting other people, and it's something that can really hinder a career and you not even know it, just because you've bought into this either word of mouth, it'll get out there and then we'll go that route, those kind of things. But you need to have a portfolio. And like I said, even if this is your first time and you haven't done anything, then you need to be recording your own music and getting ready to release it so that you can have your own portfolio. And if that's the case, you should have at least 3 to 5 songs of your own work so that you can reference, here's what I can do, here's how my music turned out, may I work on your music? I think your sound sounds similar to mine, here's what I can do for you, and go that exact route. Make sure you're going from, hey, if I'm a folk artist and I make this amazing folk music and I'm releasing it, it sounds pretty good to me and to everybody that I've talked to, then you can sell that to other like-minded, either folk or, solo acoustic artists, things like that, because you have those skill sets and you can show them off. And then as you go further, maybe you start recording, you throw in a bass guitar and some extra lead guitar, those kind of things, and they're starting to sound good. So then you can attract a larger clientele with those songs. And as you can see, you're starting to build upon itself. You've got this great foundation and you're starting to move upwards to where you're becoming a more desirable engineer because you can do more things. Then you're throwing in drum sets, and getting a full drum acoustic set is its own skill set. And if you start to be able to do that, then you're attracting full bands and you're getting more money for that. And they're usually seeking either full albums or 5-song albums, and you're increasing your money in that way. But it's just a building process of starting your portfolio and then adding on to it and getting better at each little piece you're adding on so that you can highlight that as you're trying to add on different clientele, different genres of music. All right, so now that we've got a portfolio together and we've been building things up that way, another means to track your career and another means to getting more money and getting better at your own mixes is to start to learn to specialize. So what we mean with that is that as like I said, if you started in that first example as a folk musician and then started building out from there, you learned to record vocals very well and edit and do that with those, and then an acoustic guitar. Then you start to specialize as you're building in this clientele and you're seeing what's in your area and what you're attracting. You start to find out that you're good at certain things and then maybe not as good as certain people in your area. Maybe in this scenario, if you're good at that, like I said, you could be great at folk or singer-songwriter stuff or solo country artists and that kind of thing, but not so great at, rap and that, or maybe heavy metal's not your thing, or hardcore rock or whatever it may be, or classical music. There's a lot of engineers out there doing some classical work. These are the things where you need to figure out in your area what you're good at, what you're attracting, and what you're not going to, so you can start to build your message and your branding around what you're good at and what you can offer versus what you aren't good at. And like, even if they come to you, you can be like, yeah, I can do this. But again, that goes to point number one. If they come to you, like a metal band comes to you and that's just not your thing, you're not ready to do a drum set, honesty first and foremost. Go back to number one. Hey, I can do great recordings, but a drum set's going to be a learning experience for me. Here's so-and-so I know in our area, offer them their name, give them a good reference. And honestly, they're going to thank you. The person that gets them is also going to remember that. They're going to listen to your stuff, hear your thing, and they're going to send it back your way when, some country artist comes to the door with just a guitar and says, this is what I got. I just need to get a great ballad out there. Like, hey, maybe not my forte. I'm great at metal. Maybe check out, they're going to say your name, send them your way. So it's kind of cyclical in that way. But the more you specialize, the more that it's easy for things to funnel in your direction. So if you find that you're in that part of your career and, that step where it feels like I'm getting good music out there, I'm getting a couple people here and there, but it's really slow. I'm getting, 2-3 a year. And I want to up the game. I want to do this full time. This is where you start to specialize, really figure out what you're good at. And that leads us right into number 5, that fifth and last tip, which is to develop your technical skills surrounding what you're doing. So if we're saying that you have niche down and you're in your specialization, you need to be looking deeper into a broader spectrum of who's being successful in that genre so that you can learn all the technical skills they have. Utilize things like this. You're watching YouTube right now because you want to get better and you want to learn. Do the exact same thing. Dive deep into, who's the best folk musician right now, and then, go listen to that, listen to their album, see what fan base is theirs and what they like, and then track down who's recording them, what studios are they going to. I guarantee you can track down, who the producer was, who's the engineer, go see what studio they're using, see what you can really start to break it down. Then, kind of reverse engineer from there, develop those skills by, getting better at whatever you can that they're using. I'm not saying go out and purchase everything in their studio because that's very unrealistic. But if you could kind of watch their videos and learn about them, learn their process, how they're achieving these sounds, and to, bring that into your own smaller area to be able to sell that around you, you're going to up the quality of your mixes, the sound of what you're releasing, and your name's going to start to grow in that way. And it's going to make a huge difference in your overall product. So make sure to develop, strong technical skills and always being in that continuous learning mindset. Because the thing is, we're dealing with a music industry that is completely and always changing at all times. How we release music, how we put ourselves out there, all these things are consistently changing at a rapid pace. The technology we're using to capture this is changing, every 2 to 3 years, everything's different. Then you add on top of that, AI is coming in and making things, so much easier in certain areas to help us. And I guarantee you in some way, it's going to start shaping how we record and capture music. Just now, if you're a mastering engineer and that's where you want to head, that's one of the big things you have to take on, is that every service now, it doesn't matter if you're going through DistroKid to release your music or what, there's always some extra that, would you like us to master this? Or, online mastering where you just enter in the track and then just it spits out a master that, may or may not be good. That's not the merits of what we're going to discuss here, but it's just an example of how AI is going to work its way into almost every bit of music. So we're always changing, always be in that continuous learning mindset, always be ready to develop your skills and make them better. So those are 5 really quick tips that I just wanted to share with everybody, and that should help you really start making some more money, or else, just start building that career for you and fast track it, that skip over some of us that it took way too long to figure this out. So try those out. If you have any other good ones, please share them in the comments. I always like to make extra shorts out of that, extra videos on YouTube, share that with our watchers and listeners. And of course, thanks everybody again for really the subscribers and everything is jumping up. If you could take a second to like and subscribe this, if this helped at all, so helpful. And really can't wait to see you guys on that next one. We'll see you next week. Bye.